Dear Seth, you don't know me, so you have no reason to trust me, but I sincerely hope that you'll listen to this open letter because I'm writing it from a place of deep sympathy for what you're going through. I want nothing more than for your son to be found safe and sound and to return to his family. And I also firmly believe that the RICO lawsuit you have joined in is being spearheaded by your team is severely damaging or prolonging the possibility of that actually happening. In a moment, I'm going to give you 5 very compelling reasons to drop the lawsuit and the team that's driving it. But before I do, I want to qualify myself a bit because you don't know me, but I'm not just another YouTuber with a strong opinion. I'm actually a YouTuber with a strong, informed, educated, and experienced opinion. On the professional side, I spent 25 years in the tech and entertainment industries doing public relations for Apple and Google and Twitter and Lucasfilm. I worked directly with Steve Jobs, the Google and Twitter founders, and George Lucas. And after working in the tech industry, I helped form a nonprofit that was featured in the Netflix documentary, The Social Dilemma. Go check it out. I appeared in that documentary for a couple seconds, but spent a lot more time helping to promote the ideas behind the film as a former technology executive who was very concerned with how the internet is affecting our lives, as you can see happening in your life today. And part of my job in all of these capacities was to help people decide how to respond to the many, many lawsuits that were lobbed against these high-profile people and companies. I helped them decide when we should fight back publicly, when we should be quiet, and when a lawsuit had the capacity to cause major damage to our public reputation. In my personal world, I was married to a partner of a law firm for 11 years and dated him for several more. And being around him all that time acquainted me with the ins and outs of the legal process and law. And I've also been a plaintiff in a number of cases where I prevailed and was a defendant in a frivolous lawsuit filed by a YouTuber where I also prevailed because she failed to prosecute. Similar to what is occurring in your case right now. I've also been making true crime content on YouTube for nearly 5 years across several channels, so I'm witness to the typical patterns that take place in high-profile, high-viewership true crime cases, where shameless scamming of victims' families is prolific. It is immediately recognizable to those of us who watch true crime and have been involved in this community, but it's totally unrecognizable to a dad whose son just went missing and is desperately looking for any kind of help to find him and has no idea how scammy this community can be. I promise I am not telling you all of this to make myself feel important. I'm telling you this to show that the reasons I'm about to give you to drop your lawsuit and the team that's driving it comes from a person who is actually educated, experienced, and informed. Reason number 1, the stated purpose of the lawsuit has spectacularly backfired. My understanding is that this lawsuit was filed to create injunctive relief from certain content creators speaking on the Sebastian Rogers case. Well, how has that actually worked out? Since that time, those particular creators have gained in strength and momentum and sentiment. Their channels are bigger, and they have successfully raised financial support from their communities to fight back. It doesn't matter whether you believe it's right or wrong that these channels are getting support. You just have to look at the facts. They have grown in support and subscribership because of this lawsuit, and it hasn't stopped them from talking about Sebastian Rogers. I think you were told that the defendants would be offered an easy way out by paying $500 or face the prospect of a big press conference. Well, what happened was there was a lawsuit that was filed claiming that there were people being bullied, but bully tactics, i.e. extortion, was used to try to shake down the supposed bullies. In fact, the people you tried to make look like bullies are now seen by the public as the underdogs, because regardless of what was said about the purpose and intention of the lawsuit, the public saw it as a regular shakedown. We don't like shakedowns in the name of missing teens, okay? Now, unless this case is dropped, The voices of the people you wanted to quiet will just continue to grow, because now the only thing to talk about in Sebastian's case is this lawsuit or whatever nonsense your at-night team makes up. And most of the time when we talk about the lawsuit, it's related to some ridiculous 5th grade blunder made by attorney Lesniak. The only way to stifle that continued escalation is to drop the lawsuit. Reason number 2. The lawsuit prevents you from getting network coverage for Sebastian's case. Please think about this, Seth. It has been nearly 11 months since Sebastian went missing, and there's no new information. Usually, at this point in a true crime case, the job of national and social media is to spread awareness and keep his name out there so people keep looking, not to sow chaos. You may have been told by someone somewhere that all publicity is good publicity.
Bad publicity is still publicity.
Whoever told you that was dead wrong. They are either from politics or entertainment or just plain ignorant, and they're not someone who really cares about finding your son, or they would have thought that through, because posting information that is knowingly false or misleading or with an agenda to pin a crime on specific people.
And I'm going to point my finger right at those parents and say, I truly believe that they have done something to their child.
Will push the algorithm into a hate-filled rabbit hole rather than on a search for real answers. Sure, you might get a few thousand views every day for Sebastian's case, but those few thousand views are all focused on infighting and misleading information. National networks like News Nation, CNN, Fox, CBS, ABC, and the others, they get multiple millions of views per segment. They get watched for months, not just one day. And they will not entertain misleading, hurtful, exploitative drama. You are sacrificing the awareness that these networks could bring by continuing to play in the dirt with these people who mock your ex-wife and her husband in tweet after tweet while claiming to be victims of harassment. Now, if you were to drop the lawsuit now, maybe you could successfully go to these networks and pitch a 1-year anniversary segment with the major networks for February 26th. But at this point, if you pitch that story and they do a search online and see that you're part of litigation that attempts to silence YouTubers, media, I highly doubt that you will hear back from them. Why would they want to risk getting added to the lawsuit, whether it's legitimate or not? Reason number 3, your attorney, Joseph Lesniak, is catastrophically failing. Okay? As I said in my video about Joseph Lesniak and how he tanked the case before he even filed it by including attorney Castor in the initial papers, who is not involved in the case, he's continued to tank the case over and over with blunders that cause people to question whether he's even the one authoring his own emails, social media, and legal papers. What did we just learn today? We learned that attorney Lesniak, or someone operating his email account, sent an email to Granny's Watching's lawyer asking for her signature to confirm service of the initial legal papers. When I heard this, I literally shuddered with embarrassment. We all have access to the docket, where it plainly says that service was perfected on November 8th. It's even signed by the sheriff, okay? The paper's filed. In addition, even Betty the paralegal knows it was his burden to prove the papers were served to Granny, not the other way around. Since this is such a glaring blunder, it's easy to believe that attorney Lesniak was not the author of this email, but rather someone pretending to be Lesniak and attempting to get Granny's lawyer to click on the attachment in the email. That is not a far-fetched idea, considering the fact that Nick the Hat is a convicted fraud who is currently on parole. This insanity was preceded by Lesniak saying he didn't say something he actually did say on video, and preceded by Lesniak claiming to be a plaintiff in a matter where he's also claiming to be an attorney. And in case you're not aware, you can't be a lawyer and a plaintiff in the same case if you're a lawyer. All of this was preceded by Lesniak failing to meet 2 response deadlines. And those are just the issues with procedural and professional conduct. Okay? Seth, you should not be okay with this. If you are serious about this lawsuit, you should not want to be represented by someone who was so unserious that he has no idea whether he's a plaintiff or a lawyer, can't respond by deadlines, has no short-term memory for what he himself has said, and is willing to commit fraud in legal filings or be involved with someone who is willing to front as Attorney Lesniak and commit a crime that he's already serving parole for. You are either being misrepresented or being lied to or allowing this to happen, which is all really, really shady. And if this is the attorney who told you that this case has merit, I hope by now that you realize you are dealing with a stooge who couldn't litigate his way out of a suitcase. Reason number 4. Your co-plaintiffs and representatives are major liabilities for a litany of reasons. If you haven't figured it out by now, your co-plaintiffs are poster boards for how not to be co-plaintiffs in a lawsuit that claims harassment, defamation, and stalking. All of them have dirty hands in their previous behavior, which has all been meticulously documented. One of them is out on a $20,000 bond for stalking and harassing your ex-wife and her husband's family in the name of this case. And while out on bond has continued to speak the names of people she is not supposed to discuss by court order. One of the other plaintiffs is a federal convict out on parole for fraud. And one of them has spent the last few weeks actively defaming your ex-wife, her family, and the defendants on his Twitter page. As I tweeted a few days ago, this guy all by himself makes you look guilty. And the reason I said this is because you're a co-plaintiff with this guy in papers that say you are being harassed and stalked by people being paid by the guy your co-plaintiff is actually harassing. Your co-plaintiff who claims he is rich as fuck and will only take a $500,000 retainer, okay? Your association with this guy says you approve of these actions. And since that energy is not being returned online by Katie and Chris, it makes people wonder why you are associating with someone who wants to put this much heat on them. What do you get out of this? Your real intentions may be completely different, but that doesn't matter to the public. Perception is what matters, okay? And to the public, it looks dirty and malicious and like you have such a grudge against whoever you have a grudge against that you are capable of doing anything to harm people. Is this lawsuit worth all of that? Is this lawsuit worth being associated with known scammers and frauds and felons who are just using yours and your son's name to settle old scores and keep drama going online? I don't think so. Reason number 5. Think of the world that you want Sebastian to return to. Seth, I think we have every reason to believe that Sebastian is alive. And if he is, I want you to think ahead to what you want him to come home to. I want you to picture 2 scenarios. Scenario 1 is where he comes home and finds out that you've sued a bunch of YouTubers with the help of people who have actively bashed his mother and stepdad's names by using his name. As hard as this may be to admit, Sebastian also loves his mom, and his mom loves his stepdad. And for Sebastian to feel safe and happy, he needs his parents to get along, all of them, even if they don't like each other. Picture him coming back to more chaos and strife than he left. He may have even left because of that strife. So it's possible that he even today is seeing this strife play out and it's keeping him from coming back. That strife will just keep on going as long as this lawsuit can be used as quote unquote Sebastian Rogers content to bash people. Now let's think about scenario number 2. You've dropped the lawsuit and the team connected to it, and those 2 actions alone will dramatically lower the quantity and the tone of the drama, and it will release your name from a frivolous and failing lawsuit that is also connected to YouTubers with very, very dirty, grimy reputations. Once that drama dies down to the standard level of drama, because make no mistake, there's always drama, you can step back, start living your life, pitch Sebastian's stories to bigger networks and channels who would be more likely to cover the story. And don't use Tony. He doesn't have those connections. Use a real PR person who has real connections with real channels. And I'm not talking about me. I don't do PR for true crime families. I'm talking about a real PR person who would have those connections, okay? You can step back and do that. And if Sebastian's alive and this drama is keeping him away, he may be more inclined to find his way home. Picture him coming home to a family that is willing to get along for his sake because they love him. They were all willing to put their personal beefs aside and keep away from online drama for the sake of helping him find his way back in life, and for the awareness online to be just about awareness and not about online drama between his parents. I don't want to get your hopes up, but I see that as a possible future. And in fact, I see that future as much more possible without this frivolous lawsuit and the team connected to it than with this frivolous lawsuit and the team connected to it. I also just don't think this lawsuit will prevail. Above and beyond the fact that the primary purpose of quieting people has backfired, the lawsuit itself has absolutely no merit. And if your lawyer thought it had merit, he would be actively and competently and vigorously prosecuting it. Instead, he is faltering on every measurable level. There is a reason for that. Every person with any substance who reads this lawsuit sees that it's frivolous. It was submitted with extremely weak arguments, with no evidence, and is now in danger of causing the lawyer to be sanctioned and the plaintiffs to owe damages to the defendants. In fact, even if you drop the lawsuit today, you'd only be minimizing, not stopping, the damages that may already come to the lawyer and the plaintiffs because of the many blunders that have been committed in the litigation so far. So those are my arguments. You can take them or leave them. You don't owe me anything. It's very possible that there will be very bad reactions to this video and that some people in true crime will try to discredit me because this goes against their agenda. Well, I don't care. That's fine. They can do whatever they want. But the most important thing to know about me is that I have no agenda. I did this open letter on my channel because I don't make direct contacts with families because I like to maintain neutrality. And whether you drop this lawsuit or not takes no skin off my back. I get no financial or emotional remuneration from whatever you do. I make commentary videos about what I believe to be right, and I cannot or will not be bought or intimidated by anyone. I sincerely pray that Sebastian comes home very soon. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and peace out.